Welcome to the Queer Compass.
I'm Luis.
I'm Eric. We're your two gay besties.
And we're here to talk about lifestyle, career, pop culture, and everything else. Nailed it. Okay, well, hello, you guys. We are so excited today because today we have a very, very special guest coming in live all the way from New York City. She's an NASM certified personal trainer, an AFA certified group fitness instructor, and certified nutrition coach who focuses in modalities including HIIT, circuit, and strength training. A former competitive tennis player with over 15 years of tennis coaching experience, she has a passion for helping her clients reach their full potential, both physically and mentally. Having deep experience from working in both LA and New York, she's worked with some of the leading companies in fitness, including Equinox, Basecamp Fitness, and most currently, the one and only Berries. Everybody welcome Daniela Celi to the pod.
Daniela, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to be here.
Oh my gosh, we are thrilled to have you.
And what a reunion right now.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
Couple years in the making. Oh my gosh.
Honestly. Okay, well, for the people who don't know, a little backstory on how we all met.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Danielle, I don't know if you want to kick
Oh
off
my
a little
God.
bit.
Okay. I want to tell this story. Absolutely. It's one of my favorite stories to tell because to this day, and I think Eric can attest to this, he heard us from his window outside.
Yeah.
We met teaching at Basecamp Fitness in Santa Monica. From day one, Luis and I the term fast friends is easily what we became in a minute of knowing each other.
That's
truly.
so real.
And so every time I would walk into the studio, I would just sit by the front desk and we would just talk forever. And to the point where the manager was like, okay, like, Luis, you probably should do some more.
Yeah. Like, okay, let's keep it moving.
And to the point where we would disrupt the current classes going on. It was hilarious.
Mind you, it was all one studio. There was no door, okay?
Yeah, it was all, there you go. That's so true.
But we were loud.
Yeah, we were very loud. And like every time we would see each other, it was like we haven't seen each other in ages. And we would just scream at the top of our lungs. We were so excited to see each other. Like when I walked in, it was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know Luis was going to be here. And cut to Luis started teaching there.
Yeah, and then, I mean, we honestly really hit it off. And then when the pandemic happened and everything, what was that, 2020? And we started doing Instagram live workouts together, which then turned into Zoom, which then turned into a full-fledged schedule and like a website and everything. Fuego Fitness. Oh my goodness. Shout out to the Fuego fam. Oh. And that is how we got connected with Eric.
Oh my God, yeah. So I originally followed you on, I think, TikTok or some other social media. I started dancing with Grooves.
I'll dance.
And then you were like, oh, I also have a business partner who does HIIT classes. Would you want to join? And I was like, no, that's not my thing. I don't want to do it. Because you go hard. I mean, you really go hard. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can like make it through a full class. And you were like, no, just try it. It's chill. And of course, I like fell in love with Fuego. And, so good.
And with you.
Oh my gosh. I honestly feel like that community that we built was, I mean, it was like nothing else to this day. Like everything that I do, in anything that I do, I always just think of the Fuego family because it really was that. It was a family. It was especially during the time in the pandemic, like we all needed each other and we all really held each other's hands digitally, but it didn't even feel that way because we became so close so fast.
Well, we also were like not even just in the workouts, but we were having like happy hours. We were like hanging out outside of it.
It was a really special community, and I just feel like we all really supported each other through it all. And that is truly what I mean. To begin with, you know, my passion for helping people in general with fitness is something that makes me thrive, but also just being a part of a community like that and knowing that Eric, you told us so many times, and the words you've even told us in the past of how we've impacted you, and vice versa, like it's right back at you. Like you guys impacted us so much as well. Like that's, you guys were our why. And to this day, it drives me, you know, knowing that we can have that kind of impact on people's lives.
Both of your energy is quite infectious. It made the perfect combo for fitness instruction. Unbelievable. Really, I know I've told you before, but you both changed the relationship that I have with fitness forever. And I was always seeking it out beforehand, and it just never clicked. You know, I really think the language you spoke connected with a lot of people and still does. And I think that's why your classes are all full. It's so good.
Sweet.
You guys are excellent.
Thank you. That means a lot, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I cannot believe that in the span of I guess in 2-3 years, which sounds like a lot, but it felt like the blink of an eye now looking back at it. You know, we really did develop something that to this day, we still have those deep connections with that community.
Yeah.
Like I am now living with you, and I didn't even
now
know
have
you.
This podcast
we now
together.
have this podcast.
And here we are.
And
full circle moment.
Wild.
Yeah,
Full circle
it's
moment.
really crazy.
I love
But
it.
okay, tell us more about you. How is everything? How is life? And how is life in New York?
Well, life is good. I'm engaged to my partner.
Let me
You wanna see the
let
ring?
me see.
Oh my God. That's absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you.
Love
And
it.
Thank
congratulations.
Yeah,
you so
congrats.
much. Thank you. I mean, we've been together for 7 years, and it was just one of those things. It's time to move on to the next chapter. And I mean, that's a lot of the reason why we moved to New York as well. Is both our families live out on the East Coast. His family's from Montreal. My family lives between New York and Florida, and that kind of just was one of the reasons we moved, and it all just kind of unfolded that way. But
What would you say, I guess, like in terms of moving from coast to coast, what would you say has been one of the biggest adjustments or changes in your life?
lifestyle is very different. I definitely notice. So I used to live in New York before I lived in LA, so I knew what it was like. But I will say living in New York when I was in my early 20s is very different than living in New York in my 30s, because I mean, I was just out of college the first time. I was, not really sure what I wanted to do with my life. I was kind of, I was single. I was still in my party phase. I was like, there was just a lot. It was just a lot of unknowns in my life, and still finding myself, still understanding who I was, what I wanted to do, what I wanted to be. And that's actually one of the main reasons I moved to LA, was because I just needed to just remove myself from the hustle bustle, from the feeling of that competition and the feeling of the go atmosphere. And I needed to just step away from it just to kind of get a little bit clearer. And honestly, that's exactly what happened when I moved here. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I really found it sounds so cliche to say it, but I really did find myself here in LA, and I just needed, the ocean's always been my happy place. And it sounds so silly to say, but it's true. It's like every time I'm by the ocean, toes in the sand, I feel like I can just like really think and open my mind and really hear my own thoughts. And it's hard to do that when you're in New York and you're going. So I think I just needed to just give myself that space, and I did that and got my career in line and met Ryan throughout the whole process. And then now, and at that point in time, then we were like, okay, it's time to move closer to family so that we can continue our life and continue building upon that. Now that my career was like more fully established and all that, then I was like, okay, I'm ready to move back to New York. So to answer your question, the transition has been interesting in the sense of, yes, the lifestyle is for sure very different, but I have whole new appreciation for New York.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I fell in love with New York more than I ever thought that I would.
Cool.
That's amazing.
I honestly don't take it for granted anymore. I think when you're a kid, I was in my early 20s, you're a kid.
Right.
You don't really realize where you are, what you're doing, the place that people dream about going and living their whole lives. And I had that, and I didn't realize it until I stepped away from it. Again, different circumstances. But going back, I now look up at the buildings. I now appreciate the beauty that is the skyline, that is Central Park, that is the absolutely ridiculous subway system. Like all of it has its beauty and its charm, and the energy is truly contagious, and it really does drive you, especially when you're living in your purpose,
Absolutely. That feeling, I've visited New York a handful of times, and that sort of electric feeling isn't something that you find in other places. It's very unique. to New York.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. Even when it's really cold out.
Yeah.
And everyone's in their coats and this and that. And, you know, sometimes you walk past people and their faces are like super straight and serious and they're just on their way to something. But that's what's so beautiful about it, is that they're on their way to something. They've got a goal in mind. They've got a mission. Exactly. And it's a really motivating feeling. And I don't know. And I also appreciate LA for it too. You know, because and I would not be the person I am today without LA. You know, it's like I needed LA in my life in that period of time, and now I feel so much more secure in my work and what I want to do with my life, and you know, being near my family, and actually getting to be with my family and seeing my nephews, and it's such a really good feeling too, to just be closer to home.
That's really good.
Yeah,
I feel that 100% because I feel like I used to always think like I want to move so far away and I want to live abroad and I want to do all these things, but like then as your parents get older, and as you know, my sister just had her first kid and all this stuff, that I'm like, wow, now it makes it so much harder to leave, because you know, you want to be really close to family and be able to visit them when you can and when you want, you know?
Yeah.
Speaking of career though, I know you're on this train, which I love to hear, that you feel so confident in like where you are and you're living your purpose and doing all these things. But for our listeners who don't necessarily know your journey, like, can you kind of tell us a little bit more about how you got here and how you landed in fitness and what you're doing?
Yeah. So I have been an athlete my entire life. I've played tennis competitively growing up since I picked up a racket when I was 3 years old, so little that I could barely hold the racket with one hand.
Wow.
To this day, I play with two hands on both sides. So that's like my little trait.
I love that.
And I, not for anything, it's just, it became kind of one of those things that I did. And I thought when I was younger, I was like, oh, I'm so different. I'm a different species. That's what I used to say.
Okay, you better go.
Yeah, I know. And so then I was like, this is just my trademark. I'm going to play with two hands on both sides. But so I started teaching tennis in my teens. You know, I was like 16 when I started teaching tennis, and I loved teaching tennis, and I always identified as an athlete. I always identified as an instructor in some sort of way. And so throughout the years, after a few years of teaching tennis, a lot of my clients used to ask me, well, what do you do to stay fit? And as a student athlete in college, I always had the programs that my trainer would give me. So I would do those in the gym, and they would see me doing them. And they were like, we want to do what you're doing, you know? So I was like, okay, like come train with me in the gym. And it was like totally just like one of those things that I was like, yeah, come with me. I'll be here if you want to do it with me. And then I started realizing, wait, I really actually enjoy doing this with people. And I enjoy making them feel really good in their bodies and making them feel stronger on the tennis court. Because really that's what I was teaching them tennis, and then it just kind of translated into fitness. And I realized, okay, I really enjoy doing this as a career. Why not just go all out? And so that's when I started researching, how do I become a certified trainer, and how can I make this a real thing? And cut to now I'm here, and
And for people who are maybe not just in fitness, but in general, how did you go about researching and getting into it? Like, what was that process like for you?
I teach at Barry's now, which I absolutely love. And ever since I ever took my first class at Barry's, I knew I was so headstrong, I want to be a Barry's instructor one day.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so I was taking a lot of Barry's classes, honestly. And I started asking all of the trainers there, hey, like, what do I need to do to become you?
Wow. Yeah.
And
totally.
And they were so kind and so willing to help. And they just said, this is where you got to go. This is what you need to do. Da, da, da. I went through a lot of different other gyms, other studios, I jumped through a lot of different steps to get here. But I mean, I learned from the best because I wanted to be them like that. They were my idols, you know?
Yeah.
And even when I was taking class, I was like, how do they do this? Like, they're teaching to two people, like two groups at the same time. It was like this whole thing. I was like, I don't know if I'll ever be able to get to do this. And it's so funny because people come up to me all the time now and are like, how do you do that? And I'm like, it's like, to me, it's like a nature now, but it's just it's a funny thing to see that I used to literally think the way that they did.
Yeah.
The most, not that you asked me for advice, but
tell her.
Don't be afraid to go out and ask for what you want. If people don't know what you want, you're not going to get it, right? So it's like, for me, I learned that sort of the hard way. It's like, be over communicative, tell people what you want, say it out loud. Don't be afraid to say that you want it.
Yeah.
Because the more you put it out there, the more people know, the more they're going to be willing to help you. You know? And
Definitely.
I think people are always shy at first. It's like, oh, like the imposter syndrome comes in and it's like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready yet or anything like that.
And sometimes you don't even know if the recipient of that comment is sort of like a connector kind of person who would like, actually, I'm familiar with the personality and I'm thinking of this other thing that you might really love.
Yeah.
And that could open 3 new doors for you without even you knowing.
Absolutely.
I also think there's like, for now in the age that we live, it's so digital and so, you know, we have the internet as a resource. Yes, that is true. And like sometimes, yes, you can do a search on how to, let's say, how to get certified. But sometimes, from personal experience as well, all this information and all of this can seem so overwhelming.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're like, okay, I don't know who to trust, what sources are good, what to do. Sometimes it is easier to just ask the people who are already there doing what you want to do. Because that's how I got into fitness. Was Maya, if you remember her, shout out Maya. I had been thinking about it in my head and I had looked it up. But you know, you read all these articles about all these different programs that you can do and how much everything costs and blah, blah, blah. And she told me one day, she's like, we're going to sit down, we're going to have coffee and I'm going to tell you what I did. She told me she got certified XYZ, that's all she did. Step 1, 2, 3, done.
Yep.
And I did it. And 6 months later, I was certified.
Exactly. And that's the thing too. It's like, first of all, you don't realize how easy it is until you ask.
Yes.
And the beautiful part of it is that you'd be surprised at how much people are willing to help and want to help.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Absolutely.
like my favorite part of my job now is when people come up to me and ask me, like, I get DMs or I get like this and that from people coming up to me all the time. Like, I've always wanted to be a fitness instructor. I want to be a trainer. How do I even start? And it's like, I get so excited when I get asked these questions because I remember being in their shoes and having that fire of, and that drive of wanting to do something and not really knowing where to start and being a little bit nervous and looking at those instructors and thinking that they were this, you know, almost like a celebrity type figure. And you're just like, wow, like you're a little nervous to ask them in the first place. And then you realize like, no, they're like so willing to help you.
Yeah.
And
in that, I appreciate the courage that it takes to ask because I know it can be intimidating and scary, right? So when somebody does ask, you're like, wow, okay, step 1, that is amazing. Like, let's make this happen because you're already at that point, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's such a good mindset to have. What would you say is your sort of general philosophy on fitness overall?
Ooh, I like this question.
Yeah.
You know, for me, I think fitness is so personal. I think it's different for every individual, and I think it's important to look at it in that way. I don't think that fitness is it's definitely not all about looking good, right? It's all about how you show up in your workouts is how you show up in the world, how you show up at home, how you show up at work, how you show up with your friends, right? For me, that's especially teaching group fitness. I've learned that a lot. Like when people walk into my room, every single person that walks in there has a different story, has a different reason for being there. And knowing that going into it, I feel like there's a sense of respect. It's like, okay, we're all here for one purpose, which is to move our bodies to feel a certain type of way, right? And if I can provide that for them, if I can give them those 50 minutes of their day where they get to, whether it's escape from the stressors of their day or help them reach their goals or help them feel stronger, whether it's physically or mentally, right? For me, that is enough. And I think it's super important for people to understand that. And I think it's actually one of those things that makes people a little bit afraid sometimes of fitness. And I get that a lot too when people come to a Barry's class. It's like, oh, it's going to be too hard for me. I'm like, no, it's not. it is literally for anybody and everyone who wants to try it, whether it's your first class or your 1000th class.
Yeah.
It's going to be challenging for you in your own way, because the way you show up in there is up to you.
Yeah.
And it's for you and no one else.
Yeah.
And that's what's beautiful about it too, is that it's for everybody.
Yeah.
I think that is, for me, the most important thing. When someone walks into the room, I don't want them to feel ever intimidated. I don't want them to feel like they can't do it, that they're not enough, because it is for everyone.
Yeah.
I think anything can feel intimidating, like the first few times
Yeah.
that you do it, going on a hike to Catalina, or like doing something that you've never done before, can always feel super intimidating. When you have warm people in the room like y'all, and it helps you get used to the idea a lot quicker.
Yeah.
And when you do something 1, 2, 3 times, you get warmed up, and it becomes, okay, I kind of know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I kind of know, okay, this is my max.
Right.
Okay, I kind of know I can give 80% today. I can't give 100% today. I can only give 80. That's one of my favorite things you've ever said to me, is like, it was in Fuego. I was like, I'm just not feeling red hot. And you said, if you only have 70%, give 70%.
Yeah.
And then more often than not, you're giving 70%, and you're like, I think I can give a little more.
Yeah.
And like, it turns out you gave 85%.
I'm so happy that that's what resonated with you,
Oh
because
my gosh.
every single day, I think that's like one of the most important things to walk into a room with.
Yeah, because you cannot burn at full throttle. Every single, you can't do it mentally.
No.
You can't do it emotionally. You cannot do it physically. No. You cannot burn on all cylinders at all times.
Yeah. And that's what I say. What I specifically say is, if 1% is all you have to give 100% of that 1%.
Yeah.
It's like, that's all you need to do.
Yeah.
That's all you need. And that is enough. And it doesn't have to be perfect, and it's not going to look perfect every time. And today is going to look different than tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to look different than the following day and the following day. The fact is that you showed up for yourself, for your body, for your mind, for your health, for the people around you. You fill up your cup, you're going to be able to fill up everyone else's around you. And that's what it's all about.
It truly is a gift to yourself.
It's
a gift to yourself
100%.
now, and it's a gift to your future self.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
Sure.
And that's something we were talking about at the beginning of the year too.
Yeah.
It gives your future self.
Yeah.
All the little things we can do for ourselves.
Yes.
So
Very,
true.
very true. Yeah. Actually, so funny. Speaking of kind of just diving into fitness classes and something new. So, I recently started teaching cycling, but even before then, because my sister has been pregnant, she was doing a lot of cycling back home in San Diego. And because of that, she got my mom to join her. And my mom is not a fitness person. And she's also just somebody who gets very shy and intimidated, So like with group fitness, I think she prefers like a one-on-one, like a personal trainer, which she has done before. But she goes into this cycling class, and she was having trouble clipping her shoes into the pedals, which she is not the only one. That happens a lot, right? Every day.
Yeah.
And she couldn't figure out how to get out of them. So, they had the Velcro shoes. So they were like, just Velcro the shoe out, take it out. After that class, they were like, my sister asked her, like, how did you like the class? And she goes, oh, the class was great. And she's like, okay, let's do it again next Saturday. And she's like, absolutely not. And she's like, why won't you do it? And she's like, because how embarrassing. I couldn't get my shoes out. And my sister's like, so?
Yeah.
Like, when you're not the only one.
Yeah.
And I think we forget that a lot. I think we think everyone is looking at us when everyone is too focused on themselves. And not in a conceited way, but you're just trying to, you're there for yourself.
Yeah.
You're working on yourself. You're
A little. Kind of. We live in LA. I'm like, I think some people are like really in the zone with themselves, especially at the gym.
Well, yeah.
But
for the people who are, you're not wrong, but also, he's like, wait.
But yeah, no one's looking at you.
Well, also, yeah, and even then, it's like sometimes you do walk in and it is like your mental therapy for the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I just thought it was the funniest thing because she was like, I'm not going back there. I cannot unclip my shoes. My sister's like, it's not a big deal. I will help you. And also, like, you're going to get it,
Yeah.
Next thing you know, I remember the day that she was unable to clip out by herself, she literally called me and was like, I did it. And I'm crushing it, you know? And then
front row, podium.
Literally front row. She's like, I'm a coach now. I teach the class.
They gave me the mic and I just went for it. I will be there.
Yeah,
I will sign
100%.
up. Just let me know.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was the cutest thing though. And now she even like gets up out of the saddle and like, you know, she gets better and better every time. And it just goes to show that like it does not matter where you start, how old you are, what condition you're in, like what you're used to. Like you can get there.
A milestone's a milestone.
A milestone's
Absolutely.
a milestone.
And
That's
everyone's on their own journey.
Yeah.
Everyone's on a different road, a different reason. And you've got to celebrate every single one of those reasons because ultimately you don't know. You don't know why they're there. But the point is that it's your responsibility, our responsibilities as instructors to provide that safe space for them.
Yes.
And those milestones can definitely be something that keeps you motivated throughout the process. What are some things that keep your clients motivated and also yourself? Like what keeps you motivated and running? Different
things are going to motivate different people, right? So for what I see a lot of let's just talk about my personal training clients, for example. You know, a lot of my personal training clients are business women. They're very, very busy throughout their days to the point where they're working sometimes 12-hour days or, you know, very long work weeks. And so for them, getting to the gym is a priority in order for them to stay on track mentally. It's not even a physical thing at that point. It's just a moment for them to reset. So I think what motivates them to come to the gym is knowing if I schedule this in my calendar, this is a moment for me to hit that reset button, stop everything that I'm doing so that I can go to work and I can crush it and be the boss that I am, right? So, you know, that I feel like is a motivation for them is just, this is a moment for me. And they, and because they're such successful businesswomen, they understand the importance of taking those moments, scheduling that time, right? So that's on that side of things. Other people are motivated by other things. You know, sometimes we have challenges at Barry's, and that's, people get motivated because they want to complete the challenge to just to see if they can complete it. Just simply as that. Or, you know, there's so many reasons why people are motivated. You know, some people come up to me, actually there's a couple girls that come to class and they're like, I'm getting married this year. And I'm like, girl, me too. And, you know, and so we help motivate each other. And I'm like, we're going to do this. We're going to feel our best at our wedding, you know, and like, let's take class together. Let's, you know, like, tell me how your journey's going. There's some people who are training for marathons and they're in there to get their strength training in so that they can go out there and crush their long runs, you know. So there's just different ways for people to stay motivated and reasons why people show up every single day. For me, I say what motivates me is I love to feel strong because it makes me feel the most confident in my body, in my everyday, the way that I show up. I also want to lead by example. And so by me going into the gym every day or every other day or whatever it is that I have time for, because also I understand I'm a super firm believer in balance. What keeps me motivated is knowing that if I show up for myself, it's exactly what I said earlier. If I'm going to show up for myself, I know that I can show up for everyone else in a better way. So
and to kind of piggyback off that, the idea of you know, how other people get motivated, and kind of what you were saying before, how fitness is so personal and so unique to everybody. I think the beauty of the industry now is that you have options. Like, everyone has options of what kind of workout they can do and what they're fueled by. Like, some people, let's say I as a dancer, I get fueled by music and by movement like that. So for some people it's the same thing. Like, they love dance cardio because they just love the music. They want to dance. They want to feel like they're on stage. Like they love that thing, you know? Or for like cycling, you're riding to the beat, you know? Also very music heavy. But then there's people who also get motivated by strength or by, you know, just so many different workouts, running or swimming or anything really, you know? Or now there's even rowing, you know? Like, there's so many different formats and types. And for people who maybe aren't like doing high impact, there's low impact workouts. You have sculpt, you have Pilates, you have bar, like you have so many options now. And I think that's what's beautiful. So for me, I always kind of like to tell people who are kind of wondering where to start or how to start, or they maybe don't like the traditional type of workout. I'm like, well, why don't you try something else, see what sticks, and that's how you start, you know?
Absolutely.
Because somebody might start doing Zumba and then they end up doing everything else, you know?
Fitness is truly not one size fits all.
Right.
And what works for you might not work for you, might not work for me, right? So fitness should never feel like a chore.
Yeah.
It should feel like the complete opposite. It should feel like a de-stressor. It should feel like something that makes you feel good. That's the point of it. The whole no pain, no gain shtick, that's like such an old school mindset.
Yeah.
Like, if it doesn't feel good in your body, don't do it.
Yeah.
It should make you feel empowered. It should make you feel confident. It should make you feel capable. It should make you feel on top of the world.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why we do it.
Yeah.
Right? We do it so that we can feel our best. So
Yeah.
why would we suffer?
Yeah.
So if you're not enjoying something, make that switch.
Yeah,
Try
make that
something
switch.
new.
Yeah.
You know? And it's perfectly okay.
Yeah.
There's no wrong answer for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Had you asked me 5 years ago if I would prefer an at-home workout, my answer would have been absolutely not. I'm not setting aside my furniture in my living room and jumping around and doing, and sure enough, it's what I did for 2.5 years, however long it was.
Oh my gosh.
And I fell in love with that version. Had I not tried it because you asked me to try it,
Yeah.
I would have never known. You
Yeah.
just don't know.
Yeah.
You really don't until
Yeah.
you try
No,
it. Yeah.
you are the perfect example of that.
Yeah.
It's like you put yourself out of that, you took yourself out of that comfort zone. You said, yeah, why not?
I still got nervous though. I mean, I still before your classes. I mean, grooves. I was at home because I'm a dancer.
You're making me out to be a beast over here. Oh
She was a sergeant in the room. No, just kidding.
Oh my god, it would be leg day, and I'm like, oh my god, can I do this? I don't know. And of course, it was fine and so good. And
love it.
yeah, you push
is so funny.
just enough, and it works.
That's what they call me, sweet but a psycho.
Yes, we want a psycho. That's so rad. I love that.
It's like you look at me and you're like, she's gonna be easy, and then all of a sudden, like people walk out of the room and they're just like their eyes are like twisted. They're like, what was
Like,
that? It's like,
it's like killing them with kindness because she's doing it all with a smile. She's like, that's it, but don't stop.
you better not quit early.
Yeah, but she's smiling the whole time.
But it's worth it.
It's worth it.
Oh my god, it's so worth
See?
it.
Like you feel so
See?
good after,
See?
right? You feel accomplished.
So good.
You're
So
welcome.
good.
Yeah. I also think
Yes. Thank you.
you're welcome. Oh my gosh. I also think there's like the aspect of finding your community in fitness, right? Because
Yeah.
like there are different communities and not everyone is for everybody, or you might not vibe. Just like in life, right? You might not vibe with everybody in life and you might not connect with everybody in life. But when you do find that community in that environment, yeah, like you that's when it sticks. That's when it clicks, you know? Like I've seen it so many times where people just cannot find their groove in fitness. And then let's say they do find a studio or a trainer or a class that they really, really vibe with. And all of a sudden they are in 200%.
Absolutely.
So I think it's also just a matter of like, just like in life, surround yourself with the people and the energy that fit you and that you want to be around. Like the same goes for fitness, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Question for both of you.
Yeah.
Which hour of the day do you prefer to work out? Do you a morning workout person? Are you evening workout person? What is your preference?
Okay. Perfect time for me, like 10 a.m.
Yeah?
I don't like to wake up early for it. And I don't. Here's the thing. I never regret working out early in the morning. But if I wake up to do it, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely great. And all afterwards I'm like, yes, I have the whole day. Like I feel so good, like I'm energized. But would I choose that for myself? No. I also have long work days, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I also have to kind of plan around that. So I would say like 10 a.m. is a good time. I have my coffee. It's settled in, maybe the second cup, if I'm lucky. And then I'm like, okay, I'm awake, I'm alive, I'm alert. I've probably already taught 2 classes at that point.
Yeah.
So I'm motivated. There's nothing that energizes me more than working out or than teaching classes. It truly, I can have had the worst sleep of my life and go teach. And suddenly I'm like perked up, ready to go, ready to start my day. And just by teaching. Wow. And then, and that motivates me to take. I usually will, if you ever see like on my Instagram, I'll say like teach, take, because that's usually what I do is I'll teach, and then I'll take the next class afterwards. Cause that just like sets me up for success. And sometimes I'll work out at night, but I prefer that mid-morning.
Okay.
Yeah. How about you guys?
Oh my gosh. No, literally you're saying exactly what was on my mind because, well, especially the part about, because I'm the same way. I am a morning person at heart. Like I prefer mornings. Would I, on my own, if I had nothing else going on in the day, whatever, like let's say in this hypothetical land, would I wake up and work out at 6 a.m. every day? Maybe not. Maybe I would also give myself some time, right? Like I'd probably do like a 9, maybe 10 a.m. Like I'll wake up around 7:38. Like I like that time, and I'll have coffee, I'll do my thing. But I like when you were talking about teaching and getting so inspired or just energized after, I think it's just because like this is our job and this is our profession, and like I get motivated by the people that come into the room and like seeing them, even when I think even more when somebody walks in being like at 6 a.m. and they're like, oh man, like I made it. Let's see how this goes. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, we're about to turn it on because we're about to have a good workout. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that by the end of that class, I have already like, it's almost like I hyped everybody up to the point where I have myself up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm like, yes, we're bumping music. We're doing the thing. We're working hard. And you see everyone in the room, like at 6 or 7 in the morning, sweating it up. Yeah. And you're like, I'm going to do it too.
Okay. Well, I'm really glad you brought that up because, in my mind, while you were saying that, I was like, it's almost like you're faking it till you're making it, but it's not really that because they're depending on you to provide that energy. Yes. And so it's like you step up to the plate.
Yes, you do.
And you say, I will work on myself later. Because right now, this isn't about me. This is about you and making sure that you have the best workout. And I'm here to motivate the shit out of you.
Exactly.
And then by just that, having that fire to just make that their day the best day it could possibly be by this hour that they're going to be with you. That really does give you that motivation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. And that have you ever seen those videos on YouTube where like a group of like flamingos are walking together and they're like looking around? Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. No?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Well, like animals get together and like do something similar. Or like
how is it again?
They walk around and they're like, they
all turn the same direction at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's like the way humans share energy too. It is like contagious and infectious, and like someone turns it up and someone's like, I'm turning it up. Yeah. Like, and then all of a sudden everybody's turning it up, and it's something that humans do, and it works. It's so good.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Wait. Okay. How about you? When do you work out?
Oh, my favorite time to work out. So I'm a classic girly working from like 8 to 5. Okay. So my favorite time to work out is first thing in the morning. Okay. And the time for that usually is 5:30. So I wake up at 5, go to the gym at 5:30. It's a tough, there are 0 days I look forward to it. Of course. And especially if you like accidentally go to bed late, it doesn't really work. Yeah. So you have to be diligent, but the things I like to do at the gym are available at that time. Okay. If I go after work, it's a bit of a zoo. Yeah. And I don't like to work out right before bed. So really, that first thing in the morning, getting your blood pumping, and then it keeps you like focused throughout the day. You do end up having more energy. I do like the first thing in the morning. Also, it's very similar to the whole concept of, you wake up in the morning, you make your bed first thing, you've already accomplished something. Yes. And it's like, and it really does just kind of, for lack of a better word, like cross that thing off the list. And even though, of course, like we don't want it to be a chore, but it is one of those things that if you're so motivated to go to the gym every single day, just by committing to that every day, first thing in the morning, it's like, it's like, it goes back to the non-negotiable. It becomes a non-negotiable, just like brushing your teeth, Yeah. Totally. And you're awake for 4 minutes and you're like, I'm already doing things.
Yeah.
You know?
And it goes back to the idea of empowerment, right?
Yeah.
We feel empowered, and now the rest of the day you're like, well, okay, I checked that thing off. I'm ready to do the rest.
Everything else is bonus.
Everything else is bonus,
Yeah.
you know?
Proud of you.
I know.
Oh my God. So wait, you're a certified nutritionist? Wait, is that what you said?
Yes.
Yeah.
I did not know that. Is that new?
It is new. It is new. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, congratulations.
Adding, modalities to my toolbox.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What would you, I'm a big snacker.
Okay.
I love to eat between meals.
Okay.
What are your favorite go-to sort of snacks throughout the day, like on the go or at home?
Yes. Anything that is a whole food. Simply put. I mean, and a lot of the times people are like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to eat. It's like baby carrots, an apple. If you don't like a plain apple, grab the peanut butter. Peanut butter's not going to kill you, everyone. It's going to be okay. You know, like everything in moderation, honestly, is fine. I always like to keep boiled eggs in my fridge at all times. I always like to, that's something that I just like have so I can, if I'm hungry and I know that I'm in a rush and I need to just grab and go. That boiled egg is there. It's going to give me that protein. It's going to be it's going to keep me full, satiated for a longer amount of time.
Oranges? Do you eat oranges? Do you love oranges or is it not?
I love oranges, especially during the winter flu season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And Ryan loves Suma oranges. So he's like
Yum.
always stocking up on those oranges. But even if I love them, I very rarely get a chance to eat them because by the time I try to grab one, they're gone.
Yeah.
No, but I love, any fruit. I love berries. I'm a berries girl.
Okay.
I love any type of blueberry, blackberry, raspberry, strawberry, any berry.
Yum.
Also, there's cotton candy grapes from Trader Joe's. I don't know what they do to them. It's like they legitimately inject them with something. I don't know what it is, but they're so good.
What? That's wild.
I love fruit. If I had to choose between fruits and vegetables, I'm definitely a fruit girl.
Okay.
But vegetables, if I would say my favorite like vegetables to grab on the go, baby carrots are delicious with like any type of hummus or even just on their own. I love raw broccoli.
I like raw broccoli.
Oh.
I feel like a lot of people don't like raw broccoli.
Do you dip it into something like hummus? No, you just
love
eat it.
raw broccoli.
Oh.
I love broccoli, but I don't really eat it raw that much. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's just like if you buy like the bags with, they're just so easy. You can just like put them in a little Ziploc or whatever it is, and you just like grab them and like, eat them. Like
Yum.
they're so good, and they have so much. So first of all, broccoli, lots of vitamin C, like crazy. People are like oranges, but broccoli has a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Do
Keeps
you
you
do the
hydrated.
cauliflower raw too or not cauliflower?
I don't love cauliflower raw, but I
Okay.
do love cauliflower in smoothies.
Stop.
Fancy,
Ooh,
yeah, fancy little trick to make your smoothies creamy. Cauliflower.
Oh my gosh, gorgeous.
Yeah.
I need to try that.
Really?
Yeah. And then
I've never done
it's
that.
it's just like it's the best. It's so good.
Oh my gosh,
So
I
good.
need to try that.
It doesn't
Also,
sound like.
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I love cauliflower, so that's
Because it
perfect.
doesn't have that much flavor, right? So it's like you just, but it's got
And mixed in.
Yeah, but mixed in, it's got this perfect cream. Think of like a cauliflower
Right.
soup.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
of
like it's like
course.
creamy. Yeah, so think of that, but like in your smoothie, and it just like adds that like creamy texture that you want, so that your smoothie, especially when you have like a berry smoothie, you just throw in a couple cauliflower. We always freeze our cauliflower too to put them in the smoothies.
Oh, nice. Okay, that's smart.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh,
Gosh,
I love
that's a
that.
great trick. What
Yeah.
other tricks do you have? Oh
and
my
it's
God.
such a great way to get your like vitamins and supplements in without and your vegetables in first thing in the morning without even like. Especially for those of people who are like, I hate vegetables, or you just throw them in your smoothie.
Wow.
Like everything. That's also a really actually great way. When you buy a lot of produce and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel like I have to throw all of this away. Especially in New York, we don't really have that many options to compost, which is like really sad. I mean, there are ways, but it's like
Harder.
you gotta like travel the distance just to compost your stuff. And so instead of doing that, we always just freeze everything that's gonna go bad, and we throw everything in our smoothies.
Awesome.
Because the smoothie really does mask a lot of that anyways. Like you don't taste all of it. So that's a really...
So I would say those are my faves.
Love that. Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Do you guys have favorite snacks?
Trail mix.
Oh.
I mean, trail mix is my number one favorite. I mean,
it's a thing in this household. Okay? I'm just kidding. I love it.
I know nuts are healthy fats, but oh man, it's like not such a great idea to like house 2 pounds of trail mix at a time. And I'm like, it's ridiculous. But yeah, trail mix is definitely my number one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's okay to house 2 pounds as long as, just a little tip, get small containers, and as soon as you get the 2 pounds of trail mix, throw them in the containers and then just commit to having that one container. You know what I mean?
Such a good idea.
They're simple little things that you can do to like still enjoy your favorite foods, but not
go overboard.
Go crazy.
Yeah. Love it.
Everything in moderation.
Yes.
Absolutely.
How about you? What's your favorite snack?
Okay, speaking of oranges, so my parents do grow a lot of oranges and
nothing like fresh oranges
and the little tangerines, or the mandarins, excuse me. And we have a bunch of them. We've had a bunch of them for so long now. Like every time I go back home, they just give me they have buckets at home. So I've been also just housing those down. So much. But I do love oranges. Are probably one of my favorite fruits. I am also a fruit girly if I had to choose. But yeah, I also like to keep baby carrots around, I don't know, I feel, or bananas and apples. I do tend to, I guess, snack on fruits a lot, but.
Do you have a sweet tooth or not really?
Oh yeah.
Do you have a Ninja Creamy?
A what?
A Ninja Creamy.
This one has all the kitchen appliances, first of all. Okay.
I am out of hand.
But also, it's
such a weird name, I know. You're probably like, what the?
Ninja's the brand, right?
I thought it was like a type of ice cream or something. You're like, have you had? I'm like, are we about to have right now? Let's have. Give me a Ninja Creamy?
We can.
It's a kitchen appliance, and you freeze the contents prior to putting it into this machine, and it uses this rotary tool to blend up your frozen treat into an ice cream consistency.
Wow.
It's unbelievable. We've done it with yogurt. We've done it with...
I do it with plant-based protein shakes.
Yeah. And
Koya?
Yeah.
They have the horchata flavor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, I feel like I'm eating horchata ice cream. It's literally so delicious.
It's so good.
I'm like, it's bomb.
I do eat ice cream most nights. I'm sorry, I eat frozen treats most nights.
Okay.
You can make real ice cream in it, and it's very good, of course.
Okay.
But I usually do a yogurt or a protein or something else.
That's amazing.
So good.
Yeah.
It's so yummy. And it really does feel like you're eating ice cream.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm a huge sweet tooth. Candy, could do without candy. If candy didn't exist in my life, I'd be okay with it. Chocolate. I love chocolate. I love chocolate. But I'm not the kind of person who's I'm dying for chocolate every single day. But I do enjoy it when it's available, or when I'll enjoy it, especially dark chocolate. I love. And speaking of frozen treats, we've been eating. Have you ever heard of Yasso bars?
You guys showed me those.
Yeah, they're so good, and now they've come out with so many different flavors, and they're really, really good. And it's a Greek yogurt bar, and they're 100 calories or less, and they're just they truly taste like a regular ice cream bar, but they're just, I guess, the healthier alternative.
Cool.
Again, yeah, that we're very health conscious at home. Honestly, even before I got my nutrition certification, I would say that Ryan was more health conscious than I was, only because he's also, been an athlete his entire life. So I think both of us combined, and then, me being in fitness and everything, and just us living our lifestyles, we do a very good job at eating really healthy when we're at home. And then when we go out for dinners and whatnot, it's we treat ourselves out then. But for the most part, whenever we do eat at home, we have very healthy foods, and so we choose those healthier alternatives.
Awesome.
So that we can enjoy those sweet treats, but not overindulge.
Yeah, totally. That's funny because we were just talking about kind of in a recent episode, the percentage of which we cook at home versus eat out and things like that, because I feel like we do spend a lot of time in the kitchen generally, on our own. So I guess what would you say is your percentage-ish of how often do you guys cook at home versus go out?
Yeah, I mean, it varies, but I would say 80-20, 80% at home. Like a good chunk of our time is spent eating at home. Yeah. I'm very fortunate that Ryan loves to cook and he's very good at it. So I definitely am the one who makes all the salads, and I'll have fun creating fun different salads and getting creative with that. But he's the, he'll make fun of me for saying this, but he's like the meat and potatoes guy, he's the one that makes like the bigger, heftier part of the meal, and then I'll make the sides, and I'll just, add the color. Let's just put it that way.
We need the color. Yeah. We need the color.
Have it.
My mom is still waiting for you guys to come back just so Ryan can cook with her.
Oh my gosh.
That's so sweet.
He is also waiting for the day that he can come back.
Oh my gosh. It's so cute. I know. I love that. They were adorable. We were doing our thing and they were over there.
I know. In their own little world, their own kitchen world.
Cute. Aww. Okay. Well, on that note, what is next for Daniela, and kind of, I guess, give us an idea of where you see yourself. No pressure there, right? Things change and life happens and our circumstances change. But right now, I guess, what do you see as your next step?
That's a wonderful question that no one knows the answer to. Yeah. Right now, I'm very content and very happy with my life the way it is. We're getting married. We're really focusing on, planning that. So that's definitely, personally, that's my next step. Professionally, for me, if I touch one person's life and change it for the better, that's the ultimate dream for me. So it's the more people that I can come into contact, the better. So I just want to continue doing that and continue living that purpose and continue, just being the best part of someone's day. That's really, truly what I want, however that takes shape. And I think for me, what I want to focus on and, really see this more, the older I get, is just putting weight on things that matter, like being present in your everyday life and spending quality time with the people you love and checking in with people and worrying less about things you don't have much control over.
You're a giver.
Yeah.
Yes. You're generous. You're a generous gift giver. Yeah. And I think the universe gives you more of what you're giving. And I think
it's an important reminder. And also I hope people hear that, because one, it is such a great place to be in, for you to be so happy with where you are. And I'm so happy that you're so happy with where you are and in your personal and your professional life, because this, I love you so, so much. And you have always been one of my biggest inspirations and one of my biggest motivations, I think, ever since working on Fuego Fitness with you. Anything and everything I do now, I always think you're always kind of in the back of my head as to what would Daniela do in a way,
Oh my God, I'm going to cry.
I know. Just because I think exactly what Eric said. You are such a giver and you have such a big heart, and you really are living your purpose. And I could not see it any better way. You know what I mean? So so I hope people hear that also, just because it is good to be content where you are. It is good to be happy where you are. Of course, we all want to have goals and dreams and everything, but it's that appreciation of the moment that you're in and being present in that moment, and just knowing that if you keep on putting that energy out there and you keep working on your purpose and you keep just doing what you're doing, that more good things will come, So, yeah.
Last and final question. Oh my gosh. I never want this to end. I want to stay and hang out and have a sleepover.
Literally. Let's do it.
24-hour episode.
Can we change into our PJs first?
A transition scene.
As a non-queer person, we are a queer podcast after all. As a non-queer person, what do you think is your best or a piece of advice to other non-queer people to support their queer brothers and sisters, family members, friends?
I think that the most important thing is to be aware of what's going on, ask the right questions, do your research, be there to support, whether it's at events, whether it's in the form of donating, whether it's whatever's needed in the moment. A lot of the times I think people aren't really fully informed as to what's going on, what the actual issues are. And I think that doing the proper research and actually understanding is the most important thing. And knowing that your vote matters and just being there to support when that time comes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for saying that. Yeah. It is quite often that, you know, sometimes things happen and everything's happening so quickly in this world that, like, if something's happening in a subculture, you know, it's very easy to miss things. And thank you. Yeah. Thank you for saying that.
And it's very easy to read a headline but not know the full story. Right. So I think that's a very, very good point. And that goes with anything, you know?
Yeah.
Anything in the world.
Absolutely.
Well, Daniela, oh my goodness, before you go, please tell the people where they can, I guess, find you, whether that's online or best way to reach out, you know, in case somebody's like, hey, look, I need a nutrition coach now. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So, I mean, Instagram, Daniela Celi. I'm sure you guys will post that somewhere.
Yeah, we'll post that.
Yes.
Daniela with one L. That part's the part that's tricky. DanielaCeli.com is my website if you're looking to inquire about any fitness needs or nutrition needs.
As you should.
And I'm in New York City at all of the Berries locations, so you can find me there.
We both had the honor of taking your Berries class, and amazing. Okay, amazing. So
I'm
fun.
also on Berries X, actually, so you guys can take me on digitally.
Oh my gosh, all the opportunities. Well, Daniela, again, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
I'm so honored.
Yes.
We're so happy we got to have this reunion.
I
Love
know.
you both.
So thankful.
So
Thank you
much.
again.
Thank you so much.
All right. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.